All right, what's up, guys? We back. I know it's been a little bit of a time, but I was busy working on some other projects, so we're gonna start uploading on this channel again. So I came across this video yesterday, and I wanted to react to it. This is another Low Tier God video. Shout out to him. I will be linking his channel down below, but he has some pretty solid takes I mentioned in the last video that I wanted to talk about when it comes to the black community. If you didn't already know, I am in fact a black man, if you couldn't tell, and over the years, I've noticed that I've shared a lot of his takes and his opinions when it comes to the black community in general, specifically on niggas. And I saw this video. I don't know a lot about Nick Fuentes. I'm not in the political side of YouTube or like Twitter or wherever he's from, so I can't comment on him. I will be commenting on Low Tier God specifically because I've been watching him for going on 10 years now. So I have a pretty good idea, at least based on what he says. I don't know him in real life, but a lot of his takes are pretty level-headed, and they come off as extreme to the people who don't understand what it's like living around niggas. So we're just gonna go over this video, watch it. I want to kind of comment on the things that I agree with, and I may not agree with, but knowing him, the majority of stuff I'm going to agree with. So let's kind of get into it.
I know some people are gonna watch this, some blacks will watch it. Hold on, what the f you mean well behaved? You see what that's the f I'm talking about? Nigga, we was well behaved. We was picking that motherfucker. We was on the fields. We was well behaved. We getting wet. We ain't behaving shit. We tired. All right, so social media influencer Nick Fuentes demands brutal honesty with regards to much of the commonly accepted AA behavior he describes to his black audience, the impression the world has of them, and why it's difficult for anybody to disagree with this take. All right, before we even start the video, you guys know what type of black I am. I consider myself a new age black. New age black is somebody who doesn't fit the typical stereotypical mold of an average rog. So basically, I'm not somebody who puts bling over necessities. I'm not somebody who, you know, smokes, drinks, does typical rog shit, so on and so forth. I never was that kid growing up. Even though I was around it, I was always different, you know? Anyway.
I want to comment on this because unfortunately, I kind of lived that same life. And I think a lot of black people, like normal black people, not niggas, have this same addendum that they can relate to with this. Because I grew up, for those of you who don't know, I went to Gompers Middle School. That's one of the worst middle schools in the country, or at least in the state of where I am. And then I moved around a lot, so I'm not in the city I was when I went there, but I went there, and then I went to Curtis, which was ever so slightly better by a very small margin. If you know, you know. It's one of the worst, fucking most ghetto schools you could ever possibly go to. Graffiti everywhere. It was so bad. All the kids were fighting. That was the first school in my life where I was fighting girls. That's how bad it was. Girls was running up on me like they was niggas in Gompers. And I mean, like, not like they was straight squaring up with me. And at first I would run or avoid them, but it got to the point where I had to start throwing hands with girls. Can you imagine how ghetto you have to, in an environment you have to have to fight off other women or girls, because I'm in middle school, because they just want to fight you. Like, just think about this. Imagine every girl or woman in your life right now deciding they're going to square with you every time some shit they don't like going wrong. Knowing their emotions are all over the fucking place. Knowing they get an attitude at the drop of a hat, right? And then instead of just yelling at you or just getting mad and walking away, they straight up try to square up you like a nigga. I'm talking about swinging and everything. I'm like, so when I tell you these schools are terrible, worst school you could ever possibly go to, Gompers Middle School. They tried to jump me, all kind of shit. I had to start putting paws on them. You'd be surprised. So when he says this about this shit is real. Especially if you grew up in LA or Carson, fucking Inglewood, Figueroa. I need y'all to understand how bad this is. This is not some surface level internet shit. This is some unnecessary anger, fights all the time. Stare at niggas too long, they ready to throw hands just for nothing. You just because it was like a war zone over there. They treat it like they were in an active, ongoing military war. So whether you're a child or not, teenager or not, or it's even worse if you're an adult. Don't be an adult. You're just gonna flat out get shot or jumped or pressed. You know what I mean? It's a pretty big unfortunate thing.
Anyways, I don't need to give you my whole life story. I'm just a new age black. Let's see what Nick Fuentes is talking about. Do I and will I agree? Something tells me I will. Let's see what he's talking about.
It's a shame. I really do believe, look, I think black people are not irredeemable, but there just needs to be brutal honesty. It's like, look, these black people are really struggling and they're turning into these maniacs.
I wish there was some way to differentiate black people from niggas. I don't think it's going to happen, or I don't think the masses care enough. They probably want to say niggas, but they can't because it comes off as racist because they're white, or, you know, it's niggas. And the issue, there are more niggas than there are black people. And that's the biggest issue. There are not enough civilized black folk. They're just not. And it hurts me to hear and say that shit out loud, but there's not. It's niggas everywhere. There are niggas everywhere. Everywhere I go, it's niggas. I had to move into a affluent era. As soon as I got a good paying job, I hightailed out of the fucking hood. And you know what I mean? I hardly see niggas now. And that's fucking hurts. I gotta be somewhere where they can't afford to be just not to see them. It's crazy, man.
It seems like they don't do anything right. They're obnoxious, they're rude, they're inconsiderate, aggressive, cruel, and
you know, it's funny because you're in that environment and you automatically think to yourself, I try to look into the sense of, if you're there or if you're around somebody, you get this weird feeling like, damn, what's gonna happen? And I hate that shit. I get it because I grew up around it. People who are not black get it because they get nothing but negative experience when they interact with us. And why is it always somebody black? Why can't it just, it's always us the majority of the time. You see, if it's not Hispanic, it's rare. It's a white person sometimes, Asian person sometimes, but the majority of the time it's one of us. You go to the DMV, it's a black it's a black lady behind the damn counter with a fucking attitude. Don't get one of them on the phone, bro. It's like,
aggressive and cruel. I would say the majority. I do feel like the easiest people to get into a fight with or a commotion with are blacks. Let's just say this. If I look at a black too long, that could be my last day on earth, or it could be a commotion. If I look at any other ethnicity, I'm staring at a white guy. He's like, the fuck? All right, honey, I don't know. Walk away. If it's Hispanic, be like, you all right, fool? What you looking at, bro? All right, anyways, dog. Asian, look at you. Indian, look at him. The fuck you looking at? You see something over here? You know somebody over here, bitch ass nigga? You know what I'm saying? Why do you think people use blacks for skits all the time on YouTube? Easiest people to agitate. Blacks. Easiest people to get on prank videos. Nobody else is gonna fall for it.
Look, nobody hates black people for being black. If there are people like that, I think that's exceedingly rare. And I don't consider myself one of them.
I will say that. I always say it's like this. A lot of people are so quick to use the word racist instead of prejudice. I always say that. There's a big difference.
The reason that people have negative attitudes about black people is because most people's interaction.
Because it's niggas, that's why. There's more niggas than black people and everybody interacts with the niggas. As simple as that. It's simply because of niggas.
Interactions with black people are negative. Most people's interactions with black people is when you're stuck in traffic and you see a Nissan Altima speeding down the shoulder.
And that's true. That's true. How many times I've been driving, right? Now I'm driving in a car that is way faster than a fucking Nissan Altima. And for some reason, it'll be a get driving a Nissan Altima with one of those sun-dried paint. That like the top will be sun-dried paint. You know how only Nissans do that? It'll have the sun-dried paint. And you trying to beat me in traffic. Like, do you see, like, my car is designed to dust you. And you're, like, they literally be whipping Nissan Altimas. They'll literally whip Nissan Altimas like Corvettes. Literally like they're V8s. Just whip it through traffic.
Hey, what the fuck? You're not supposed to do that. If everybody did that, it would just be another lane. And, not everybody can do that. But it's like these people have no respect for decorum. They think the rules don't apply to them. They have no respect for society. Like that's their interaction is they are a waiter and they wait on a black table and the black people don't tip and they're fucking rude.
I hear this one a lot. This is really interesting. I always wanted to go into like a deep dive as to the black people specifically don't tip. I have a different opinion on this simply because I feel like tipping culture, I blame weak-minded people for doing it. I tip because unfortunately not enough people are going to band together to stop it. But I never understood like the black people only don't tip. Like my family, we tipped, so I guess I didn't really see it, and I didn't really go to eat out with like other black people who like weren't in my circle, and my circle tips. So black people not tipping is that's one thing that's kind of fall on deaf ears to me. Not okay, wrong term. Not deaf ears as I don't believe it. I just have not experienced it. So I personally feel like tipping is a problem in itself. I don't associate it to black people. I just think tipping in itself is an issue. So anyone who tips, you are part of the problem. Personally, that's my view on that. It only exists because of people's guilt, pretty much. You don't have the strength of character to not tip, which would then force the companies who are working for them to pay their employees livable wages. You shouldn't be able to pay someone $5 because you're depending on the goodwill of humans. What if everyone just broke that month? You know what I mean? Oh, don't eat out then. No, I'm gonna still eat out. And then let's say they just don't tip, right? I mean, not even $5. Now that person, he or she can't live off of $5. You know what I mean? If you're spending $20 at a table, then I get it. But if you're spending hundreds of dollars, then yeah, you can tip. But what if they don't? That's my point. It's the same. It doesn't really matter if they can. It's what if they don't, and they don't do it for an extended period of time. Your entire livelihood is based on that. So restaurants shouldn't be able to bet on that. You pay them less, oh, they'll pay you. You know what I mean? So I know it's a harsh belief. People may not like it, but it's the people's fault. It's not the companies. It's the company. It's the people's fault for allowing it. We can only allow what is allowed. You didn't want to do it, you would just stop tipping and then it would stop. But unfortunately, that's never going to happen. People are not going to band together unless something. It's going to take. I think I spoke about this in one of my other videos. It's going to take the robots to replace some of the servers, because that's what's going to happen. Tipping culture has went from a good deed to a mandatory offense. So now, you have people spitting in your food or leaving fucked up notes. I don't know if you guys saw that one Twitter video. This one black lady delivered some food to somebody, and then when the woman opened the door, she paid her a cash tip, and she said, "Don't look at the note. I put a bad note in there because you didn't tip." You understand what I'm trying to say? So because of that, there's and then on top of that, there's an entire subreddit of angry, disgruntled Uber drivers getting pissed off because they're not getting tips. So it has gone from that to now companies are going to simply just replace you guys. You're going to have robots delivering your food. That's why Uber is also about to get replaced by Waymo. I'm telling you now, it's going to happen. There won't be Waymo's already cheaper in my region than Uber and Lyft. They drive better. You know what I mean? So I don't mind tipping. I actually love to do it, especially when the service is good, the food's good. I have no problem with that. But now we have this mandatory guilt tripping that's going on. You're just going to get replaced. And I don't want to hear no complaints about it when it happens. I don't want to hear nothing. Go on Twitter, go on Instagram and pull up all of YouTube. You guys fucking up people's food, spitting in people's shit. Pull all that stuff up and look at that when you wonder why nobody wants to order from you directly anymore. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that when it comes to tipping with that's not a black people thing. That's just a person. That's a people thing in general. This is a class of people that don't want to tip to fight against it. Right? I'm not going to fight against it. I'm going to keep tipping because I know it's going to die off. I'm already seeing it. I'm going to just watch it happen and then laugh at them. That's it. Oh, yeah, I'll tip, sure. Enjoy these last few tips. They won't last long because you're too stupid to understand the bottom line. I've been saying this my entire time on this earth. You do not bite the hand that feeds you, and they're biting the hand that feeds them. You're attacking, forcing people to tip you. They're simply gonna just, you can either yell and argue or you can fix the problem. They're gonna just fix the problem. Robots. And it'll just be that. So there's no point in fighting and arguing. Yeah, go ahead and tip. Maybe another 5 years you really won't have to, or it just won't be a thing anymore. So it'll be a bunch of disgruntled people that again won't do nothing about it. When you had the opportunity to do somebody, you didn't do shit. It's too late now. So
You know, it's funny. I really do think that it's just like a black thing though, right? So check this out. My mom is not ghetto at all, right? Never was that type. We was the only non-ghetto blacks on the block, basically, outside of some Jehovah's Witnesses across the street. But I do catch her getting an attitude with people quickly. Like if we go somewhere, she'll be like, you don't have another place we could sit? No, I don't want those.
oh man, I've experienced this. One thing I will say, I could not stand the parents of some of my friends. They were irrationally angry for it used to piss me off. My friends would be cool, but they're fucking their mothers, because none of my friends had fathers, but a few. Once I moved out of my community and I was in like high school, middle school, they were all had single parent households, right? So their moms were always the most angriest people I've ever come across. Always had an attitude for anything. If it was time to come in the house, it wasn't just, okay, honey, it's time to come in. Cursed at, yelled at, like all the time. Like every single interaction with his mother was a yelling. It's like, is she ever not mad at you? It's like it's almost as if their mother would just piss that they existed in general. Whereas my parents would only yell at me when I did something wrong. So I got yelled at when I was wrong. But when I didn't do anything, it wasn't just, okay, time to come in. You know, then if I did some dumb shit, which I did do dumb shit, then I get yelled at. Then I got a whooping. But his mom or their mothers was like, always, doesn't matter. He could do no right. It's time to come in. I told you to come in 5 minutes ago. No, she did not. I was there. She was gone for 30 minutes, but then you walk outside and tell me you told her 5 minutes ago. There were no phones back then. None of us had phones. There were no flip phones. There were flip phones. We couldn't afford them. So how the hell did you tell him 5 minutes ago when I've been with him for 30 minutes playing with him? You didn't. But this is the irrational anger of these black families that nobody wants to talk about. I'm not talking, fuck, damn the tipping shit. This is the problem. You got your child living on eggshells. You did not tell him shit 5 minutes ago. You know what I mean? So, and that used to make my blood pressure go up. And that wasn't even my mama. It was his mom. It's like, you can't win. Don't dare let him argue, say, no, you didn't. That's an ass whooping now for nothing. Now you have irrational anger. And when we say whoop kids, we don't mean for stupid shit like that. It's when they steal or do some crazy shit. Not, I told you 5 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago when you didn't. And then if he says something back, he's talking back and he gets his ass whooped. Like, and you wonder why so many dudes, or so many black people have anger management issues. I'm not a nigga. I still got the anger management issues because I'm around that. The schools, the people. It's almost impossible. So I don't associate black people with the non-tipping, but when he's, according to what he's talking to, what he's about to say, yeah, I do agree with that. The anger, just onset anger just for the sake of being angry, just because.
Let me get the other one. Nope. I don't want that box. Give me the other one. So I don't, yeah, it's just people's interactions. I don't know what it's just people's interactions with blacks is what give people the wrong depiction of us. And like I said, one good black is going to suffer with the whole bunch. One bad apple spoils the whole bunch. That's like a classic saying or whatever.
Yeah, there's definitely more niggas than there are black people. So I would definitely say that. That's the number one reason why we suffer so much. There are more of them than there are of us. So you need, 5 niggas you'll come across, and then the one black person is just lumped in. You have to dress like completely different, right? The way you carry yourself and the way you dress is usually the way you dress. And then you'll be perceived different potentially. But other than that, this is what we have to deal with. And it can sometimes, what's the word I'm looking for? It can sometimes, what's the word? Radicalize. civilized black people because they see it's like our entire identity is relegated to a nigga. You go to school, you get your degree, you have a good working job, and you're just compared to some nigga from Crenshaw because he threw an anger tantrum or he stole out of a fucking Dior store or some fucking iPhones, which is the stupidest shit in the world because they don't work once you steal them.
One bad apple spoils a whole bunch. Unfortunately, you're going to get secondhand embarrassment. You're going to automatically be deemed that as somebody who might do a smash and grab or somebody who's going to steal in the department store because that's what Rogs do. So whatever Rogs do, us regular blacks, us new age blacks, us blacks that are civilized or in, some of you guys might be Rogs, they're just positive Rogs that don't steal. You're going to suffer from the rabbit Rogs.
And that's most people's interaction.
For the rabbit Rogs, you're going to suffer. A Rog means ratchet or ghetto.
At stuff like that. They go to the DMV and they see a black person behind the counter and they say, oh, here we go. And the person's rude. Now, it just goes to show people are not racist. It goes to show people don't like people that are rude.
And then this is another thing that pisses me off. If I'm being 100% honest, they don't even have to go far for an example. You don't have to like go out of your way to go find like a rude ass nigga. And that's what pisses me off, right? So you can go say something, right? You can be like, oh, niggas always get angry fast. And then go to Crenshaw Boulevard or even Hollywood Boulevard and just try to start arguing with a nigga. And within the first 15 seconds, he's already ready to throw hands. You can't do that with anybody else. It's like, it's harder to get into a fight with any other race. Maybe a Hispanic dude, you can get into a fight with them. But with a black dude or a nigga, you can get a fight with him so quick. So you don't have to do nothing. You can just look at him wrong. And it's like, bruh, I hate that it's so easy to prove this shit right. It's like you can't even defend it. You try to defend it and it's like they're gonna just, you end up looking like a fool. And that part really pisses me off.
That people don't, it's unpleasant. People want to be treated with consideration and respect. And it is true that black people are, in this day and age, unfortunately, seem to have very low moral character. It's not even just the violence, although the violence is pretty striking. If you live your life and you know that you're going to be mugged by black people, it kind of colors your opinion or perception of black people, wouldn't you say? If 99% of the carjackings and stabbings and shootings that you see in Chicago are by black people, when you're walking down the street late at night, guess what you're looking for? Black people.
Hey, that is true. Because I made sure I moved to a place with less blacks. So I made sure that I moved so far away from blacks that if I see another one, I know that I have nothing to worry about because this is a high regarded area that only somebody that's black that has their shit together can live here in the first place.
Yep, he's right. Yeah, my neighbor is a Jamaican dude, and that's it. It's me and him, and there's no other black people here. We got some, it's no white people. It's Filipino people, a lot of Koreans, Japanese, but it's nobody that's like, there's no niggas. It's one other black dude, and he's not even a black African American. He's straight out Jamaican. You could just tell. So, yes, there's no niggas over here. There's literally no niggas in my whole neighborhood. It's houses over here. No niggas. Because niggas don't got houses. You know what I mean? So it's like, why I have to go to a affluent area for niggas not to exist? You know what I mean? Why did I have to do something like that just to get away from niggas? It's so sad. Niggas are like directly connected with poverty. So why I have to go in somewhere where the zip code has a cost of living higher, and I can go weeks without seeing another black person. Not even just niggas, black people in general. I might see them when I go to the theater, and that's about it. But then I go to a theater that's near where I live, so I don't really see them there. I used to go to the fucking ghetto ass theater. It had armed guards in front of it. Like, what kind of, have you ever in your life been to a movie theater that had armed guards in front of it? That's when I knew I had to go. When I saw that, I said never again. I'm never coming back to this theater, and I'm moving out the neighborhood. I said never again, and I automatically reject invites to that movie theater. I had a couple friends that still live over there, and they'd be like, hey, let's go to the movies. And they'll pick that theater. I'm like, no, I'm not going there. It has armed guards in front of it. Why does a movie theater have armed guards? No, I'm not going. Don't ask. No, thank you. I appreciate the invite. We can go somewhere else on my card, or we're just not going at all. But just to kind of let you know what type of environment you could potentially live in. Niggas will have it so bad that the theater has to have guns. Let's keep that in mind. Really think about that.
Literally. Because let's be real, man. I don't want to live next to no rugs. You know what rugs do too? When you live next, they love dumping their mattresses and old TVs and shit like that right in front of the apartment complex. The apartment complex that I was living in to save money before I got here, I was paying cheap rent just to stay there, being smart. Bro, all the blacks would dump their old furniture in front of the apartment complex all the time. Mattresses, couches, old strollers, everything. Just fucking up the environment. Also, every single physical confrontation I've had in my life has been with blacks. Unfortunately, that's just been my life. Ever since all the way from second grade and up, bullied by blacks, chased home by blacks, been made fun of by blacks because I didn't have the fucking best J's, the latest J's, so on and so forth. Been clowned for having one pair of shoes for the whole school year.
Yeah. If you lived in poverty, you would get. That happened a little bit to me. That's when my fight started, because I don't like bullying and stuff like that. So when someone's talking crap about me, I have at least as a kid, I didn't really have a lot of emotional control because of school. My parents tried to teach me that, but I was raised in such a toxic environment. It was kind of hard to make it work. So to kind of put into perspective, they would bully me stuff, right? They would say stuff like that. They would like hit the ball out of my hands if I was playing a game of pickup. Like take my pencils and shit. And I think it to myself, I'm like, okay. Now mind you, I'm like 7 years old. Between 7 to 10. The stuff stopped when I got to a teenager because, I got bigger and they just stopped. Unless they were larger, nobody fought me. But in middle school, I got into a lot of fights and a few in high school. But I thought to myself, I was like, okay, so you're doing this because you think nothing's going to happen. This is my mindset, right? My parents didn't teach me this. I'm thinking to myself, you're taking my pencils, you're knocking the ball out of my hand, and I'm not doing anything, so you think nothing's going to happen. So if I smack the shit out of you, maybe you'll stop. And that's how I started fighting. I literally start being an aggressor, which is bad, but they would, one kid took my pencil. I didn't even say anything. I waited till lunch and I smacked the dog shit out of him while he was sitting down. You know what I mean? And now I look like a bully because nobody saw that he was bullying me in class or they didn't care. And then I wait till lunch or PE and I'm putting hands on him. And now I look like I'm just starting problems. Right? I look like you're aggressive, Caleb. You know what I mean? That's where a lot of my anger issues came from. But he's right. They would just bully you and mess with me. But my response to that was just straight violence. I guess we about to fight because you're not going to do that. And it's funny enough, the shit stopped. So it seemed as though they only did it because they thought nothing would happen to them. They were not taught consequences. So I taught them consequences. It's pretty much, at least with me, if you're not going to do something and you think nothing's going to happen, I'm going to show you what's going to happen. You may not like it, then just don't do it. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of black people grow up with that, and you deal with anger. It follows you in your life. So instead of trying to deal with a problem on a civil level, you just get handsy with everybody. Somebody says something to you, you ready to throw hands because it was embedded in you from childhood to solve all your problems by beating niggas up. It's just that simple. You tried the vocal way. I would always try to be reasonable with them first, and it never works. Because it's really hard to reason with niggas. And then you're an adult, and yeah, niggas want to fight you. And that's probably why.
Being roasted by blacks for liking wrestling, roasted by blacks for liking Street Fighter and video games, roasted by blacks for not having the latest fits, roasted by blacks for not having a crispy fade and lineup. roasted by blacks because I always spoke with some sort of poison, eloquence. For those that don't know what that means, roasted by blacks for speaking proper. To the point where so much so, I had to dumb down my dialect just to fit in with niggas.
I didn't do that. I just got into fights. I was not talking like a nigga just so I can fit in with you. I'm not doing it. And the fights, oh, you think you're smarter than us? Oh my God, I heard that shit so much. By simply not talking like them was enough to get me into a fight. You think you smarter than us, kid? You think you better? All right, nigga. I don't know. They just assume you ain't got no edge to you because you don't talk like them. And then now I gotta put hands on y'all, and now you leave me alone. Oh, we know you got down like that. Why I gotta beat your ass just for you to respect me? I guess I guess that's just how it's gonna have to be, because you're not gonna talk to me crazy. You know what I mean? I have no tolerance for bullying, and that part of me I have never fixed. I'm working on it, but if I feel like somebody's trying to like don't test me, bro. Don't. If I tell you something and you still okay, we got a problem now.
And you equate that with danger. And it doesn't take a lot of them to spoil the whole bunch like that. And we just want black people to take accountability and say, look, I'm not a bad person. I'm not a bad person. It just seems that every time I encounter you people, for the most part, it's negative. And sometimes extremely negative, like I could get a gun in my face. You know? That's a problem. And people go, well, you are just loaded up with hatred and racism. It's like, I'm really not. I'm a really friendly person. I'm a really polite, friendly person. I give everybody a chance. But if I'm someplace and I see some black person walking in with their pants sagging and they can't articulate what their problem is or what they need, and they're rude and they're aggressive, and I'm in fear for my life, like, yeah, I have a problem with all of that.
Yeah, just like I'm saying, what he's saying is,
that he's right. I don't know who this dude is. It's Nick Fuentes, but I hate that he's right. You know, I hope he's not trolling. I don't know who this guy is. I have seen him with Myron, and Myron got some pretty extreme viewpoints. And for the people who don't know, Myron is not black. He's Sudanese, I believe. So they gotta stop saying he's black. He's not black, bro. Myron is not black. So people need to stop saying he's hard on black community. He's not black. Myron is not from here, man. He is not a black person. But yeah, so I'm not too familiar with this dude's game. I don't know if he's a politician or if he's just like an online troll or if he's just saying this stuff for reactions. But even if he is, unfortunately, it carries weight because it's true. So, and it's probably going to go on deaf ears because he's not black. So that's why I'm responding to Low Tier God's video, because he is in fact black and he has a black lived experience, which is pretty, consistent with a lot of black folks. Me, myself, can relate to him on many different levels when it comes to the way I got treated growing up and the way I decided to move. I could easily be in jail right now or dead if I didn't make a few decisions that kept me on a straight line for success. So, I think I'm gonna end the video here. I don't want to go on for too long. I can always make a part 2, but I don't want to go too much further past 30 minutes. I really feel like this is just, it saddens me that we are still fucked over like this far into the future. I'm a well-grown man now, and it's still the same thing. If anything, it just got worse. And it's like niggas don't care, so nobody else cares. And you know what I mean? I don't know, man. It seems like the solution is to just separate yourself from them. It's one of the reasons why, a lot of rappers that do well have to leave the hood, and the ones that don't, unfortunately, end up getting killed. Rest in peace, Nipsey. Rest in peace, Tupac. Rest in peace, XXXTentacion. They try to do for the community, and they just get a bullet in the back of the skull. So, I don't know, man. I know this is probably a sensitive topic for some people. It's not for me. I'm ready and open at any opportunity to speak on these type of issues because they affect my people and they affected me. So, but yeah, until next time, guys. Right now.